Okay, clearly you have now, if you're watching this video anyway, you've clicked on this link over here and you've downloaded the video and you're watching it. And the point of the video is to give you an overview of this website. It's the sage.mathography.org website. There was a seminar in the past. We haven't had the seminar in a while now, but anyway, this material here is, I try to keep it current. An updated seminar may be published here if they decide they're going to run this again. That's if they decide to run it. So let me go through this. There's a guidebook here. If you click on this over here, you're going to get to the guidebook. Now I'm going to close the sidebar over here so I can expand and contract the sidebar. Over here, if you want, you can click this link over here and you can download the document if you want the document on your computer. Okay. When you scroll through the document, let's get to the contents. Optional Sage tutorial. All right, so when you're looking at this over here, it's an optional Sage tutorial. You can click on these things and get to the sections. For example, I would recommend starting at the beginning, but after a while you get familiar with Sage, you may say, well, gee, I needed something to do with limits. Who knows? Again, I would start basic. Let's go Sage to calculator. And then when you do that, you're going to get an introduction to use Sage calculator. The big question students often ask is, how do I get to work Sage? We'll get to that in a moment, but right now, at least you know where the document is. All right, and that's important. You know where that document is. This website is geared towards that document. So again, the guidebook is for ECC students. There may be additional information in the document, but right now, I would not worry about anything additional in the document. What are you trying to do? Learn to use Sage. We're not at that stage yet. After you get through the guidebook, you may decide that you want projects. I'll click on this right here. And you're going to get to this project sheet. What's the project for Math 119, 120, 121, and 122? So, I mean, you could scroll through it if you like. There's also an index over a table of contents over here, but scrolling through it, projects, yada, yada, yada. Wow, big preamble there, huh? So 119, some projects over here. Let's get to those projects now. Project A, instructions, blah, 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 blah. Well, you'd have to read through that if you want to do that project. That's entirely up to you. All right. There's code over here. Let's not worry about the code at this point. I'm just pointing out there's projects, and you may decide that you want to learn more about Sage by doing those projects. All right. I'm going to go back to the website. Again, referring to the guidebook once you get through it. All right. If you think there's an error in the document, I would appreciate if you email me and let me know about those errors. There's additional resources. Gregory Barr's website, good place to go. He has a free book there. His website, I'll get to it. The colors always kill me, by the way. But you kind of scroll through this, and again, you can read it if you like. But the point of this thing is, you read through this, you're going to start to realize that this guy has actually published a book on the subject for undergraduate students. And he gives a free black and white version and a free color version. All right. You click on these things, you'd be able to open up those versions of the book if you're interested. All right, let me go back. So, Gregory Barr's website. There's another free book. It's on using Sage for differential calculus. Again, it may be worth looking at. And there'd be a book on differential calculus. This guy, Sean, I guess it's Mausch. It's kind of I'm not going to say a light, it's definitely not light by any stretch of the means. The guy must be incredibly talented, though. He wrote a book on applied mathematics and free of charge. It's long now. It's also old. It's 2004, but it's a really long book. And again, you can download the book to your computer or just keep it on the website, Whoops, sorry about that. I mean to do that. So we got some resources here. Again, the key resource here is the guidebook Once you get through the guidebook, which is designed specifically for ECC students, you may decide you're going to do projects. All right, there's additional resources over there. All right, there's cheat sheets. What's a cheat sheet? It's a summary of how to deal with things. Quick reference guide. All right, a little cheat sheet over here. Reminds me of the old day of Unix. They would give these sheets out, and they'd be on carded paper, and you could fold it. And actually, some textbooks actually had them, and it just really reminds me of the Unix days. All right, let me go back. Linear algebra, elementary number theory, calculus, basic math. By the way, you may be surprised by basic math, that you may be shocked what they consider to be basic math, not like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. You get the idea, right? Graph theory, cheat sheet over there. Again, not saying stuff you're interested in, but you may be. Abstract algebra. All right. Introduction to Sage. If you want to watch this video, it's almost an hour long. It's by William Stein, I'd say the father of Sage. All right. Okay, let's get to how you would use Sage. All right, so I'm going to click on the sagemath.org website. So I get to this website over here, and I'm looking at it, and it's certainly lessons. Is I have no idea what to do. I don't know where to start. We're trying to cut to the chase over here. Now, of course, in my website I say Sage Math Cell, but they're pushing CoCalc now. So if you hit CoCalc, again, you may have to register an account to do this. I'm already registered, so I'm already logged in there. But you could, I'll just click on something here. I'm going to start a project. Again, I realize this is confusing for students. It's part of you're wading through things, right? I don't like using web-based Sage because I'm depending on someone's kindness to allow me to use their computer, because I'm not using my computer when I'm using the web. I'm using somebody else's computer. So I got to create or upload a file. And someone says, oh my God, there's so many choices. I don't know what choice to choose. Well, you're going to choose Sage Worksheet. All right. So I know you don't know these commands yet, but I'm going to type in reset. Now, when I hit return, nothing happens. Let me go backwards. You must hit the shift return for something to happen. So repeat that, shift return. If you hit shift return, you notice it turned green there? It just did that command. Let me do something really simple, like 1 + 1. If I hit return, nothing happens. If I hit shift return, what do you expect? A little green thing with the answer. What's the answer to? You get the idea. All right. Now, someone can say, is that all Sage can do? Absolutely not. It can do a lot of stuff. I'm going to back out of here. Okay, let me repeat this. If you want to start using Sage immediately, you would go to this website here and use the CoCalc interactive worksheet. I've actually installed Sage on my machine though. I would prefer to use Sage on my machine than use CoCalc. For one thing, CoCalc is going to keep asking me, would you like to make a donation so you can get more resources? Well, I just simply downloaded Sage and installed it on my computer. Let me go through that with you. Download. It's going to be tough. What am I doing? I look for a server near me. Well, we're in North America, and the closest location for me in North America is MIT. Okay, and click that. Then I look over here. The operating system I use Apple OS 10. So I would click on this. If you're using Windows, you click on that. Linux, you click on that. Yada, yada, yada. Let me click on the OS 10 though. All right, depending what processor you're using. By the way, I'm not using either of those processors, but I'm going to emulate the Intel. That's fine. So if you're using an updated computer, I'm using a MacBook Air, but it doesn't have an Intel or a PowerPC processor. It has an M1 in it. So I'm going to click on Intel. And then someone's going to say, I'm so confused now. I don't know what to download. The reason you're confused is because you're not reading. So if you read this over here, it says, pick if available your choice of Sage distribution. So it says this one here to get Sage as an OS 10 application that starts like most other Mac applications. Well, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for app.dmg. So I wouldn't do this thing over here, which is a tarball. I'm not going to do that. I wouldn't do this one here either. I would do this one over here. Now, someone's going to say, if I download that, where does it go? Onto your computer. All right. And then it's going to be a really big file, by the way. It's huge. It's a huge file. It's almost 2 gigabytes right there. All right. You can saw it on your computer. All right. Let me go back. I'm going to go back to the website, just backing out of here. Again, I know this is overwhelming. I want to go to the guidebook. Click on it. Guidebook opens up. I'm going to close the sidebar. I'm going to scroll down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something here. And I'm going to click on limits. All right. So, someone says, if I go to limits in the thing, am I at that level yet? I'm not saying you are, or I'm not saying you are, but let me just go to my web browser, and I'm going to start to type things I see in. I said web browser. I didn't mean that. I'm running Sage on my computer. So I'm going to type this in, f of x. And again, I'm not saying you're at this stage yet. I'm just saying I can type this stuff in, x star exp x. Now, when I'm on my computer, it's not shift return, it's just return. So now f of x is that function, right? F, you see what it does? F takes x and assigns it to x times e to the x, all right? And then, certainly you can type all that stuff in over there. Every single thing, all right? And you can go through that. Every single thing you want to go through, you can go through in this notes. I would not start at limits though. Where would I be starting? At the beginning. Let me just type in clear. And I'm going to go back to the very beginning of these notes. And what you should be learning, how can I use Sage for basic arithmetic? So you do like 15 plus 16. Now, if you do this on CoCalc, it would shift return. On my system, I just hit return. I get 31. So you'd go through those things over there. Now, some things you may be surprised what they give you. That's the whole point of doing the interactive tutorial. So over here, star star. Someone says, I wonder what that does. Well, part of that is just simply reading. It's basically an exponent. It's 2 to the 9th power. That might seem strange to you. This is a Python language, and it just comes somewhat strange over here. So again, they got, all kinds of stuff that you could put down. So for example, I'm seeing this one over here, 15 divided by 4. It says 15 divided by 4. If I want a decimal, it says that I should probably do 15.0 divided by 4, and I would get the decimal on that. I think you get the idea, all right? Then there's some exercises for you to do. With the exercises, there's also an answer key for you, and you can look through that if you want. They talk about integer division and factoring, and that's nice to know. They talk about div mod, all right? They talk about all kinds of things. Again, it's for you to work through if you're looking to learn that material, all right? Now, granted, you might say, I'm not interested in this particular, I want to get right to limits. You got to go through some basic tutorial before you can start thinking about doing a limit, and you should do that. GCD, greatest common divisor, between 65, 640. I don't think it's a very difficult problem, by the way, but that's not the point. The point is you're learning something. Let's say I want to do the GCD between numbers like this. I don't know, couldn't do that. 3, that's incredible. Greatest common divisor between those two numbers. Well, you get the idea. Look at this one over here. I want to point out my notes. You could also do a copy paste if you want. I don't recommend doing it, by the way. Whoops, I didn't mean to do. You know what? I'm not in that PDF. I'm in the web. I can't copy paste on the web. But you could type this stuff in. If you download to your computer, they get a PDF. PDFs can be copy pasted. So there's a lot of stuff to work through. The more time and effort you put into this, the easier it's going to get for you. This tutorial is not a terribly long tutorial, but you can get there. Once you go through the basic tutorial, though, you should be ready to, maybe start thinking about doing projects. Maybe you want to start thinking about the different reference sheets that are given over here, yada, yada, yada. Your mileage varies depending how much time and effort you put into what we're giving you. And it's really important you start putting the time and effort in. Thanks for paying attention. Again, if you have any questions, you can always email me. or stop by my office if you like. Thank you.